You tuned in Rotation, the podcast with Street Team Heck. We going raw, we going the realest of the real, and we going uncut. It is rotation. We will go into conspiracy theories. We're not gonna push nothing as fact if it's not. We will put the disclaimer in there. You feel me? I don't even care, bro. I jumped in this podcast game ready for all this stuff. I mean, the only thing is on that. You already know what time it is. Get in rotation.
So I just
that's facts. I just seen this clip on Facebook the other day. Was like that dude was like, they asked me, Pastor, if I start coming to church, do I gotta stop smoking weed? Do I gotta stop drinking? And he's like, really? I know drinking ain't shit, but do I really gotta stop smoking weed? And he was like, no, you don't gotta stop. Whatever you doing, keep doing what you doing. Just guide yourself in a better way. And look for him to, come, So
clean it up.
Yeah. Like, why would he want you to come perfect? He don't want you to come perfect. He wants,
Yeah.
So I was all right, that's cool. So I seen that, I was like, that's cool. Because I'll definitely be on there. I'm like, man, I gotta just stop everything. I gotta just go cold turkey on everything. The weed, the liquor, the pussy, all that. Like, you can't do nothing.
Nah, man, you gotta.
Yeah, that should definitely be something that I be thinking about. All the time.
Yeah.
All right, for sure. So look.
Things we spend our days chasing after, he said it's all vanity. Help me, Father God, it's the focus on you, Lord. Yeah. No payment options in his life of promise. Holy scripture told the future before Nostradamus. And faith is the currency that keeps us out of bondage. Bench watching sound doctrine is how we make deposits. Witness when they recreate his image, drawing up composites. Change the color of his skin, the establishment is for profit. I used to want a chain, not for nothing, but to let the head of Jesus hang from it and be stylish. But doesn't it seem like somebody just said off with his head, like a symbol of defeat that we wear? Isn't it clear? Decapitation is the prove your opponent is dead. So what's our fascination with these golden souvenirs? None of us can identify the face of the Messiah. So we took the head of Caesar Borgia and severed hairs and wear it like a pendant, independent of fear, complete lack of conviction. Let the truth enter our ears. He said to never make an image, but we made an image. Turn the living God into a false idol and praised him with it. Ain't no Jesus piece around my neck. That piece will never reflect Yahushua HaMashiach, God's living word in the flesh. We are the image of God. Don't let the devil finesse you and paint a portrait of lies for you to take a picture next to. He can never bless you. Our treasure in earthen vessels. The treasure outside of us cannot compare on any level. When the dust settle and the smoke clear from the kettle, you will finally understand that hope you hear from the ghetto. How can the people so poor still smile and endure all this foul mistreatment, the violent take it by force? The last shall be first, from prophecy to the present. There's a monopoly on earth to acquire God's possession. You know why it's hard for a rich man to go to heaven? Because in his mind he already there. That's the deception. For the love of money.
What price will you pay?
Going crazy.
For the love of money.
Or give in exchange for your soul. All the wealth you obtain won't mean nothing on that great day. Judgment's coming when you stand before.
Yeah.
Man, in rotation, the podcast. We are live. I love that record ever since the first time I heard it. And it's a bonus that it's from a holy person. You know what I mean? Like, so every time I hear that, I'm like, bro, you wouldn't think he's rapping about that until you listen to it because of the style, the way he flowing on there. He got the whole shit, and he's not even talking about nothing that you would think a motherfucker with that voice and that vibe is talking about. And he went crazy, bro. Shout out to Eshawn Burgundy, man. That's audio of the week. We got a super special guest, man. This one of the brothers, man. Like, music brought motherfuckers close together and shit, but like overall, I've been around this brother. He's talked to me and told me things and showed me what different perspectives on things, and and it's never been beyond just being men. You know what I mean? And like, I appreciate that from you, and I know the show's gonna appreciate it from you. And the special guest this week, Don P, man. Welcome, brother, man. I appreciate you coming through to the podcast. I'm trying to do it big, and motherfuckers like you make this what it is. You know what I mean? So
I appreciate you having me.
How
here,
you
man.
feeling though?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. A lot of things is moving. We got the ministry up in Walker's Point, Unite Ministry. you know, we've been in the community probably now going on almost a year now.
A
You know
year
what I
strong.
mean? And we actually had our first services this last Sunday for the first time. Actually, just opening the doors, and you know, it was at a small studio. A lot of times we do pop-ups at venues, you know, and
Which is progressive almost, right? Because I mean, I feel like not progressive in the political, you know, but that's like that's a new way of holding a ministry, is it not?
yeah, you know, in a sort of sense, you know, there's so many, you know, how can I put it? There's so many checklists, you know. It's like a checklist. You got to have this, you got to have that, and we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and my leader, by the name of Adrian Hernandez, simply told us like, hey, we didn't do anything right. You know what I mean? Like we didn't do anything by the book. You know what I mean?
We just made it happen.
And to be honest with you, you know, look what God is doing. You know,
Right.
Look what He's doing. Look where He's sending us, set us up. So it doesn't always have to be by the book. I mean, a lot of people are getting out of that mentality. You know, out of that mentality, thinking that you have to have so much in place in order for you to actually start making an impact in your community and actually spreading that truth and having that interaction with the people that live in your own neighborhood.
Well, which is, you know, in other words, that's almost literally how Jesus did it.
Yeah,
Like, he was out here traveling,
he was
going to you. Hey,
Yeah.
bro, this is what it is. You know what I mean?
He was definitely you know, on a mission, and he fulfilled that mission, you know, on that cross. So he always had you know, the right motives as far as going from place to place and spreading that good news and letting people know, hey, the kingdom's at hand, and you know, letting people know all of this weight that at times maybe a church can have on you. You know what I mean? Because
Which
it
I'm
can
sure it's a lot, yeah.
it can honestly, you know, put you in a corner and make you feel like, you know, where do I belong, or sort of say, you know, overwhelmed with the traditions of it. You know what I mean?
Which was my next thing, is that when I said progressive, what I really meant to say was you're not doing it as far as the modern view of how traditionally you were supposed to, you know, you're supposed to, quote unquote. But, you know, the fact that you doing that is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, not crazy. And when I say that, you know, I want all the viewers to know I met the brother on a totally different tip. You know what I mean? Like,
No, you can share that.
Yeah, it was not what we about to talk about today. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, like, I don't get it wrong. Motherfuckers ain't lame. And it's not corny. None of that shit. This is just a man who has matured and grown to find a purpose, his purpose, under his purpose. You know, ooh, I'm cold with that shit, bro. No, but, you know, I didn't meet you like that. So what? You know, when I met you, bro, it was
We can
straight
talk
up.
about
Yeah,
it.
okay, yeah.
Let's
So
talk
I
about
met
it.
you at the spot, bro, right?
Right.
And I was in the, you know, you had to go out the little spot, the main part of the spot, and go next door. I don't even know whose house that was, bro.
I think it was some cat named Hoser or something like that.
So that was Hoser's crib, right?
I think
next door, like
I think it was Hoser's family's crib.
his
and-
family crib, yeah.
Yeah, and his
so you
pops
had
was-
to go through the little side and go to the basement to take a piss and shit. That shit was crazy, bro.
Yeah, it was definitely a death trap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So then I was down there and shit, and then you had walked in there, and then I forgot exactly what you said, but it was something along the lines of like, I see what y'all doing and I like that. And this is not on a positive tip. You know what I'm saying? Just so everybody knows, this is not on a positive note. This was on some like, hey, I see y'all here. I see how y'all riding. You know what I mean? Like, I see how y'all standing on y'all shit. That's what I do. And I was like, oh, for real? Like, no bullshit. This man looked me right in my face, was like, see, that's what I'm about. That's what I do. You know what I mean? So, and then, you know, I ain't gonna lie, at that time, I felt proud of that shit. Like, oh, I bet, you know, there's other real, you know, real niggas and shit that are, you know, recognizing our real niggas shit. You know what I mean? Like, and it was like, you know, now that we grown, and it's been over a decade I've known y'all, bro. For a minute. It's been like almost 11, 12 years now at this point.
Yeah, no, it really has been.
It has been
you
a
know,
minute.
And
you know?
me making that statement was just acknowledging you guys as far as the way you guys moved, because there was a lot of you know, just fraudulent, you know, stuff happening within that music movement.
scene, yeah.
Like the whole scene was just out of my, you know, element. You know, but
Yeah, rap. It's rap. It's rap shit.
You know, that goes to the politicking with, you know, this person, that person, and I'm just like, nah, I don't like rocking like that.
Right,
but
right.
but under the under the strict I won't say command, but under the strictness of like, you know, we need to mingle with people.
Yeah,
You know, but I was always just like, nah, man, I don't like rocking with certain dudes.
No, I feel
I don't
you.
like the way people move, and it's a whole different story behind, you know, what's actually being told and said compared to how you're actually living. So when I got to
With
see
a lot of people too.
yeah. So when I got to see you guys, you know, move, and then I got to hear the music with it, I'm just like, okay, like these are some dudes that actually, you know, are moving how they're living and talking, you know, what they're doing. So I respected that in that sense. It wasn't even so much about the music. It was just more like,
No, right, and I felt that as soon as you said it, I knew. And like I said, it's crazy to think back now how proud I was whenever somebody would tell me some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And I would be like, damn, yeah, you know. And I'm like, this is what I put all my effort into, like almost all my life, bro. Like since I was a fucking teenager. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what I wanted. I want motherfuckers to feel this vibe that I'm not to be fucked with or whatever. You know, whatever you could put in the air on some, like, you know, this is some street shit. I'm a real person. I'm a real nigga. You know what I'm saying? And I try to stand on that before. And now I look back at that shit, bro, and I'm like, bro, if you don't get the fuck out of my face, bro. Like, listen, bro, I like going to barbecues and shit. I like having my kids. I like going on fucking family vacations and shit.
Yeah.
I like going to fucking see mountains and shit and just looking at the sky and shit. Oh, that's beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a whole different, you know, and I've always been like that, low key. But the point is, you know, you came so far from that, bro. Like, and I remember the first time that you kind of talked to me and kind of opened up about it.
yeah.
You know, and I was like, damn, because I wasn't expecting that. And it was what, like 4 years ago. It's when I had went through and I lost my family structure and shit with my BMs and all that.
Yeah.
And I was fucked up, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I was tripping. I was not okay.
was
You know what I'm
you
saying?
was
Yeah.
not, you're right. You
Yeah,
were
you
in the
know,
state
and
of
then I
mind.
remember you told me some real shit, and it was so trill that when you said it, I wasn't even catching what you were saying, or I wasn't catching the angle you was coming from. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was so trill. You was like, listen, bro, you should have known that was gonna happen because it wasn't built on the foundation, and you wasn't even saying God, you wasn't saying faith or none of that until you got it through to me, and I'm like, man, that's some real shit. Like, yeah, well, you know, it was built on fake shit. And then you was like, yeah, that fake shit, that shit outside. And that's when you was like, that's outside of God. It was a foundation built not on God. So you're never going to find that until you build that with a woman who wants to do that with God with you. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
You know, that stuck with me, bro, as a grown man. You know,
Yeah.
you my brother, so I could tell you that, like, hey, bro, I got love for you. And that shit, I'll never forget that. Forever. I'll forever remember that because it was out of nowhere from somebody who, not that I viewed you as unholy, I just didn't think that you was coming from that perspective.
No, because, you know, around that time, I'm still in my own struggles. Even to this day, you know, it's a everyday struggle. But I remember that conversation because in the midst of it, you know what I mean? Like, you got to think of it like this, and it's kind of like we were discussing before the whole thing started, as far as like things that you see and people go, oh, you know, I got to get perfect. I got to get all of this out of my life before I can even thinking about having the audacity to approach God and say, hey, I want you to work in my life. And in order for me to do that, I have to get this, that, and the third out of it before I can even approach you and show you that respect. But here's the thing, you know, when they tell you come as you are, you know, there's no beating around the bush on that statement. You get what I'm saying?
As you are.
As you are, and of course you're gonna deal with the shame and the guilt, and you know, because you're not truly understanding who it is you're actually talking to. You get what I'm saying? When you picture God and you picture Him and you picture speaking to Him, but then you picture yourself in the state that you're in, right? You're messed up. You're with other women. You're smoking. You're drinking. Maybe you're banging. I don't know. Whatever it is that you're going through, you would tend to forget who you're actually talking to. And even me, knowing what I do know and having the knowledge and wisdom that God has blessed me with, not saying that I have it all figured out or even have abundance of it, but what I mean by that is at times you forget that your God is forgiving and He's loving and He's merciful, you know, and He's understanding. You know, he's not someone that's going to be like, oh, well, I don't get you. You know, well, of course they get you. He's made you, right?
Right.
If that's what you believe, you know, and for me, it's what I believe to the core. So at that time, I'm still dibbling. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm in the room with you, and
No,
I
you
have
did come in on with the party type shit.
yeah, like I'm in there with the bottle of Henny.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and I have no shame saying that, because for one, it's the confession of it, and for two, it's just like, man, I'm still struggling with my own thoughts and my own feelings to it, you know. And SG, you know, shout out to SG, but you know, he be the first one to be like, man, be quiet, like look at you, you got the bottle in your hand, like shut up, like, you know. But I respect him for that, because it does make you want to challenge, you know, the process of it, you know. But there goes to say, you know, never holier than thou. You know what I mean? I have to speak the truth, even in the midst of it. But I seen it. You know why? And I seen it is because I lived it before. I know what it is to, you know, have that, and for it to be gone, and just be going through this, you know, this mental state where it's just like, man, you pretty much want to reach out and touch something, you know, because you have all that pain, and everybody knows, you know, what does your pain go to when it's undealt with? It goes to your anger and your hate.
You just get mad,
and you want someone to pay for it.
Yeah, somebody gotta.
It's
It's always something to blame, you know, when it comes to you being in a position that you definitely did not see yourself being in. And I know that for a fact. Like, I've always, you know, and it's crazy because out of all the niggas I beef with and that I got into it with, or even had an issue with, or anything like that, none of that compared to when I had to look myself in the mirror when I wasn't in the same house as my child. That was like, whoa, you know. And then I'm like, oh, you know, fuck her mom, you know, she did this, you know. And regardless of how true that might be, when somebody goes out their way to, you know, I definitely had to be like, man, I was moving in the absence of, you know, doing the right shit. You know what I mean? I knew I wasn't doing. Every time I did some dumb shit, I knew I was doing some dumb shit. I'm like, and that's what keeps me, you know, because I'm not. I would never consider myself to be a holy person, first and foremost, but I grew up that way. Like, my whole childhood, I broke bad when I was like 11. No bullshit. I'm talking about 2-3 times a week. My best friends were church friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we couldn't wait to go to church. Like, that was the highlight of, that was our outside. Like, oh, we finna go to church. Like, we get to go see the other kids. We chilling. You know what I mean? So I grew up like that, you know, around scriptures. My mom was super spiritual. You know what I mean? She was, and I like to say spiritual over religious, which we're going to touch on that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, it was so quick. It was like a switch, bro. Like, we moved away from my dad, and it was crazy because the whole time we was going to church, my mom and my dad it was some crazy shit going on in my house. It was some crazy, you know, things I don't talk to people about. I damn near forgot about it because I put it so far back in my mind, and I live such a different way now where I don't even think about that shit. And then when I do stop and think, I'm like, dang, we used to be happy to go to church just to be away from my pops. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know, it was that kind of thing. So it's like, you know, the switch happened so fast that I can't even point out to you, you know, other than the overall, like, we moved away from my dad, and my mom was on some, like, clearly all this shit I'm doing isn't helping me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm guessing. I never really talked to my mom and asked her, like, hey, you know, you went from, like, going to church and shit to back to smoking cigarettes. You was out drinking and partying and shit.
Well, you know, you look at it, you know, and I don't know the situation, obviously. You get what I'm saying? But let's just put the basics around it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure she stuck around for a while before she left. You know what I mean?
Oh, for a minute.
That's
like I said, 10, 11, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
so, you know, to go through all of that, because there's some hope in maybe somebody will change, or maybe I can make things work, and that goes on both parts, you know, male and female. Somebody wants to make it work, and somebody wants to act like they're making it work, but they know themselves, and they just, you know, ruin things at that time. So it's the same situation as yours, you know, in the way, like, man, my family's broken up. So that can also lead to just being like, man, whatever. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, obviously, you know,
I got nothing else.
yeah. So I'm gonna smoke. I'm gonna, you know,
Right.
drink. I'm gonna get back to living life because at even at that age, you know, I'm assuming your mom wasn't too old. You
No.
know, so it's just
You can keep going. Hold on. I just got to
go ahead.
speak. I got it.
I'll wait for you. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't know the situation from left to right, but I would assume your mom was not old, and at the same time, it's a coping mechanism. You know what I mean? Like
No, I really, yeah.
you know, she left. You know what I mean? And she took the kids, and that's a hard thing to face. You know, when you by yourself. You know what I mean? And
I never
then-
even thought about it like that until you just said that.
Yeah, and then move, you know what I mean, and go to a whole different state and just have to set up shop and start brand new, and the whole support system, even if it wasn't much, it still mattered. You know what I mean? It still had a toll on your life, and you know, as a parent, you know that. You know what I mean? And that's a hard choice to make, but it's harder to stay in a situation that's unhealthy. You know what I
Right.
mean? So.
Definitely.
It goes deeper than the aspect of what you see, because that's why I'd say, like, it's a foundation and it's built on one, and when it's not done right in the way that it's designed for it to be, then yeah, you are playing with fire. You are playing with fire, and everything can seem sweet, and I don't want to down anybody that's not married, that's in a relationship, you know, because who am I in all sort of say, you know, who am I? But I would like to encourage, you know, the thought of it, and the you know, just the meaning behind what family actually is, you know, because you don't want your kids to be robbed of that. And I have 4 boys and I have 3 girls. I got a daughter.
Shit.
Yeah, I got a daughter on the way, but I have so many kids because I've had kids with 3 different women before I actually got married. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had, you know what I mean? I had my first kid when I was 18. And I'm 36 now. So I had my first kid, and then 2 years later had another kid with a different woman. And then 2 years later had another kid with the same woman. And then another 2 years the same woman. And then after that, 2 years later had another kid with a different woman. And had another kid with a different woman. You know what I mean?
I knew
like,
you had kids, and I'm like, I didn't know it was like that, bro.
but the thing is like, people go, well, that's a lot of kids. But in a short period of time, I was with 3 different women that I had kids with.
Yeah.
So, and in my mindset as a young minded person, I always thought like, oh man, like we gonna be cool, we gonna be kosher, like, you know what I mean, like we gonna be able to work things out. If things don't work out, like we'll be friends, sort of say.
Yeah.
You know. And the first kid I ever had, I remember Curse telling me, like, you're gonna see how things turn out. You know what I mean? Like, I
'Cause
tell
he
you,
went through that. He went through that with his first.
and you're gonna see how things turn out. Like, and I remember shrugging them off, like, nah, man, I'm good. You know, like I take care of mine, and you know what I mean. Like, you know, we ain't together, but me and his baby mom, you know, me and my baby mom were cool, and he was just like, all right, but I'm telling you, you'll see. And you know, that right there wasn't something that hit me until my son was, you know, 10, 11 years old, and I realized that he was more out of my life than in my life. And that's my first son.
Yeah, that's
You know
your
what I
first
mean?
son,
Yeah, and my son is 17 now, and he stays with his mom, and but majority of his life he hasn't been with me, and that's my first son.
Right.
You know, but for the rest of my kids, I've kept them all together through the mud, because there was one point in time that I was in a court situation, you know, custody, and I told myself, I said, man, I can take him if I wanted to. I could, because his mom wasn't around at the time, and I was like, but he's in a good place. You know, he's in a good neighborhood. He's in a good school. Like, and as for me, man, me and my other 2, we're in the mud. You know, we still in the hood, and I don't want to drag them through that, right?
Right.
But to be honest with you, I wish I did. And not in the sense of, oh, I want to put them through it, but in the sense of, no matter what he had, you know, a good school, he had a, you know, good neighborhood, he had a good support system, but one thing he didn't have on a regular basis was a parent.
Right.
So that is something that I don't want to say backfired on me, but then to sort of say, you know what I mean? Like, I thought I was doing the right thing by not taking him and keeping him where he was at.
Right.
You know, for the best
you
of
seen
him.
the priorities differently than
Yeah.
it ended up being. You
Yeah.
know?
And when you look at it and you finally get into the truth of it, you know what I mean? And obviously it's my truth and what I stand on. And I wish, you know, everybody would see things, you know, in that sense, you know, as far as God, because I realized how much I robbed them. I realized how much I took from them. You know, they suffer to this day. And what I mean by that, like, you know, not in the, I don't want to say in a physical sense, obviously, but yeah, it hurts. It really hurts. So, you know, when you get the questions like, man, why is things the way they are? And, you know, why is this person gone? Or why don't I get to see this person? Or why are they the way they are? You realize that you've robbed them of that. They don't get to grow up with that, you know, same parent in the same household. And be that as it may, it's a normal thing that's looked at nowadays. The marriage is not something that's hold, you know, to a great value. Because people get married, they get divorced, they get married again, they get divorced, they get married, they cheat during their marriages. I mean, it's not held the way that it's supposed to. You know what I mean? And that's why I look at the foundation of it.
Yeah, I've heard my kids brag about, you know, they about to have fucking 4 Christmases, you know what I mean? Like shit like that. Like,
Yeah, of course.
And it's like, oh shit, I'm finna go by my mom's and my dad's. And then when we go by my dad's girlfriend's blah blah house, they finna, you know, like my lady's brother and sister went crazy for my kid this year. And I'm like, you know, and my kid's like an addition to their, you know what I mean, went crazy. I'm like, so to them, they're like, oh shit, you know, but like you said, it's so normal.
It's so normal.
And like that's something where when we get into like a subject like that, like I absolutely see the godlessness in that whole situation. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
You see it. You can. There's no way you don't see it. Obviously, people put their own little, you know, their perspectives be whatever. You know, and you have to kind of not listen to everybody, but just kind of take everybody into account. Because, you know, everybody's on the same, you in the same space with everybody trying to live, everybody trying to eat, but not everybody trying to be righteous, you know what I mean? So it's like, that shit sucks, but, you know, you could see the godlessness in that, bro. It's like, it's there, you know what I mean? And
even if you were to, like, let's say for the people that don't believe in God, right? Even if you were to take God out of the situation, you would still see the
bad of it.
Yeah, the bad of it.
It's
you know,
bad,
the messed up of it. You know what I mean? So it's not even like you need God to like overthrow the whole situation. And of course I'm gonna stand on God, like, oh yeah, God is the one that, you know, sets the foundation. Right. But even if you were to be the person that's just like, nah, I don't believe in that, you can see that it messes you up. You can see that it messes the kids up. I mean, you sharing a bit of your story, you're already exposed. You come from a broken home. Right. Same thing with me. The same thing with a lot of people. A lot of people don't get the privilege to have mom and dad in the house their entire lives. They really don't. Which is
crazy.
And
it's
like
crazy
said,
to think about that.
And it's like I said, how many of your homies or your homegirls you know that come from them same situations, and whether they like to admit it or not, it all takes a toll on their lives. You be grown as ever, like you said, it's in the back of your head.
You don't think about it.
You don't even want to think about it. It's because in our reality, it still touches something that hurts, sort of say. You know what I mean? Like it's still you still feel it like it just happened. You're grown now. You know what I mean?
No, and that's what was the bombshell for me when I was going through what I was going through, because realizing that now, you know, and it wasn't just my actions, but mostly my actions created an environment for my child that was like mine, and I didn't notice it until it happened, and I'm like, oh bro, I just failed in the most, you know, the highest form of failure. This is it right here, bro, for me. Like, and I remember I had to stop and think, and, you know, shout out to all my brothers that came, checked on me when that was happening, bro, and just spoke to me and just chilled, just sat there. I had a couple of niggas I was crying in front of, like, because I was fucked. It was just one of the days, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, like, to think that I fucking caused that for him. Now she has to, and then I was like, bro, that shit really fucked me up. Like as a kid, it fucked me up that I had to go through that, and now I'm doing it all over again. Like, bro, fuck me up. And then, you know, going through that and getting over it, I finally had to, you know, all right. So now, shit, I live my life like that to this day. Like y'all think I don't want to go on tour and shit? You know what I mean? You think I don't want to be out here, bro? You know, starving artist, because I know I got what it takes to do that.
Yeah.
But I see so much, you know, evil and shit in that shit, and I always choose my child over that. I'm like, nah, I'd rather just if I can make something happen from right here and then it happens and I can provide for my kid, cool. But otherwise I'm gonna provide for my kid and then do this right here on the side. You know what I mean? And that's just the fact of it. But I've never said I'm gonna quit rap or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just have to, you know, I'm trying to find a way to redirect, because there's a lot of shit definitely I rapped about that I don't give a fuck about no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, and if you really listen to my music anyway, from all the I never really went out of what I know and do for real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. You
So,
know,
you
and
know.
that's not a bad thing. You know, I got a brother named Mario. Shout out to Mario. He got this thing where he says, I want to be famous at home.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be famous at home. You know, I
Mm.
want to be famous, you know, to my wife, to my kids. Like, I want to be the star in their life, you know, because ultimately they look up to you, you know, and even with brothers and sisters, you know, and that's why I always tell my kids, my older ones, like, hey, whether you know it or not, like, your little brothers and sisters are looking up to you. They're going to follow your footsteps. They watch what you say. They watch what you watch.
Everything.
They watch what you do, you know. So my biggest thing is this, like, you know, and you get a lot of parents, and you know, I'll stick to the parents that are in church and that are in services, you know, and then their kids grow up and they go left, and it's like, oh, you know, how, like, you know, we put so much into them, they know, right, you know, and I've seen it. I've seen parents struggle and break down and try to take
because you think that you did what you're supposed to
and you did.
in the right environment.
And you did, but one thing you have to realize, that even when it comes to you, right? God's not a bully, right? He's not going to force you to follow him. He's not
Right.
going to force you to worship him, right? Because if this was something that you had to do, like if you didn't have a choice, then how would that honor God to know that he forced you to love him? It would it'd be the same way for your own kid. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you knew your kid loved you only out of the spite that I have to love you,
Yeah.
you would know it
It
wasn't
would
real.
fuck you up. Yeah.
Yeah,
You would be
you
like,
would-
yeah, this isn't.
This isn't genuine love.
Yeah, this isn't what I thought it was gonna be. Like,
No, so I've seen parents struggle with that. You know what I mean? And and it's hard to prepare yourself for that, to know that, hey, your kids might go the opposite route. You know what I mean? And do things that they shouldn't do. And I have conversations with my son and my daughter that are getting into their later teenage years. And believe me, they got their share of mistakes like anybody else. And I don't get so wrapped up in that, you know, because I tell them, hey, you know, for one, you know right from wrong. And you know it's going to bring you trouble. The only thing that I hope, and, you know, God forbid you ever make a mistake that costs you your life. You know what I mean? Because throughout the years, and us even being young, we've buried a lot of people. We've buried a lot of young people. You know, I've seen, you know, 8-year-olds and 12-year-olds, you know, throw dirt on their parents', you know, casket. You know, and that right there sticks with you. You know what I mean? So I say, hopefully the mistake you make doesn't change your life forever. You know, whether that put you in a box, you know, or put you in a pine box.
Yeah,
You know,
both of them trash.
One of them, yeah, both of them trash, and there's nothing I can do for you.
yeah, that's it.
You see, and I had a conversation, you know, with my wife the other night, and I told her, like, it's heartbreaking. You know what I mean? To think of the thought, and of course, you don't want to think negative thoughts. You got to think realistic. But the question is to myself: is it gonna break me? You know what I mean? Like, if my child had to go through that, and I had to be a parent that had to suffer through that, knowing that these choices that they made ultimately either put them in a predicament where they can't get out of, or even in the sense of, you know, laying up and creating a life out of marriage, even though you know the foundation. And you know, I tell my kids, do you want to make your kid feel the way that you feel? You know what I mean? Because I know you suffer from it. I know it hurts.
Yeah.
I know even though you play it off and shrug it off, you can't hide that from me. Why? Because I come from that same thing. You know, I'll tell you all day to your face, like, hey, you can't hide that in your eyes. You can't hide that look. I know that look. I wore that look for years. You know what I mean? I wore that look for a decade and plus. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Like every day, I'm just like,
yeah. So you look at them and you know they're hurting, even though they play it off. So the thing is it's like this. It'll break my heart, but it won't break my faith. So, man, by all means, live your life, make your choices. You know, I'm going back to the sense of this is not something that you have to do. Like, you know, I tell you know, my daughter, hey, Pa, and, you know, I tell my daughter, hey, Ma, listen, if you choose to grow up and you know, you don't want to do this, then that's on you. It don't stop me from loving you. It don't stop me from, you know, being around you or, you know, accepting you for whatever choices you make. But at the same time, I got to keep going. I got to keep pushing forward. You know what I mean? Like, nothing's going to stop me. You know what I mean? And it's sad because you go, oh, well, you know, them are your kids. Well, yeah. But if my kids, you know, choose to go against the grain, then that doesn't mean that I stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And go back. And that's a hard decision, right? But God says, you know, anybody that, you know, took the loss of family, of kids, you know, of wealth, of everything, anything that you've given up from me, trust me, like, I got you. Because I know what it takes. You know what I mean? And the prime example of that is, like I said, if let's talk about the actual, you know, situation, right? God gave his only son, right? That's the famous quote, God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, you know, to die on the cross for you. And if that's the case, then by all means, God is the perfect example of giving up everything for you.
yeah, the one thing you love the most.
Right? And at that agony, you know, agonizing death, one of undeserved, but one that was gladly taken up for the sake of you. You know what I mean? Like, once you really get in the depth of it and you really start to think about it, you go, wow, God really loves me. And the thing is like, I didn't do anything to gain that love. You see, there was nothing done for the, you know, there was nothing done on your part for God to say, hey, I choose to love you. No, that's just how it is. Like, I love you and that's it. Nothing you do can change that. Nothing you do can put you on a better high, you know, than me loving you where you're at. No, and that's why it goes, oh, well, God loves, you know, the one that does right and the one that does wrong. You know, he brings rain on the good and the bad. You know what I mean? So there's nobody holy. You know, there people.
But I was about to say, but so my question to what you just said, does God punish?
Well, does a parent punish his kid? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
does a parent punish his kid when they get out of line? Of course. Now, I wouldn't say punish in the sense of like, man, he just take you out. You know what I mean? But in the sense of, yeah, it chastise you, man. But
Well, I mean, taking you out wouldn't be a punishment as far as, I mean, obviously, but
because you don't want to die not having that, because that's where the departure comes from.
right.
You know what I mean? It's like anything, man. Think about it in the lame in the lame sense. It's like this, right? You got a child, right? Or let's not even say you got a child, because it'll be hard for you to touch the subject on it. So let's say you got a close friend, right? And you're rocking with them, and that's your dude, and you're telling them to do everything that you possibly do to show some type of honor and respect towards what you two have, right?
Right.
And he does none of it. Of course you're gonna feel like he doesn't love you or care about you, and in the real sense he doesn't. So he's trying to, and when things hit the fan, and it's like, all right, well, I don't got nothing left, and pretty much lights out, right? Then it's like, man, can I come through now? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
can I come through now? And it's more just like, I would love for you to be here, but nah, like, you can't. You can't. You know what I'm saying? Because you chose. You chose. It's just like, it's no different from you know, kind of like the streets. Like, you chose a side, and now you got to stay on that side.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't look at God like he's this mean person, because you know, when things hit the fan and it's lights out, it's like, nah, you can't be here. You know what I mean? Because your whole life I've been trying to call you, and you don't ever pick up that phone for me.
You've been given plenty chances.
Yeah, so it's like this. It's like, yeah, God punishes the ones he loves. He chastises the ones he loves, right? Just as a parent would. He'll put you, like, you know, sometimes he'll put you in that box, right? And not that pine box, but he'll put you in that box. But at the same time, you sit down, right? Because how many people actually, and these ain't the ones that actually like, all right, I went to jail and I found God and I came home and I got right back on the dirt. Like, nah, there are, you know, real people inside the prison yards preaching the gospel. You know what I mean? Because there's still time left. You know, as long as you still got breath in your lungs, you still breathing, you still living, there's still redemption within you. So you still got time. As long as you're alive, you have time. You know what I mean? Like, think about it like this. If Jesus was hanging on the cross and he had two criminals on the side of him, and one mocked him, right? One made fun of him. And the other one said, nah, we deserve this. You know what I mean? We are the criminals. We deserve this. But this man, he's righteous. And he's done nothing wrong. He's blameless. And he sits there and he tells Jesus, hey, when you enter your kingdom, remember my name. And he goes, on this day, I promise you, when I enter into the kingdom, like, you're going to be with me. So even in the last sparest moments of hanging on a cross and about to die, he claimed him. He said, yeah, I got you. I'll remember you, and you're going to be with me in paradise. So don't ever think it's too late. You know what I mean? And that's why some of the homies that passed away, that did have you know, some time to reflect on life before they took that last breath. You know, some of my biggest hopes and some of my biggest wishes is that they had that conversation. You know what I mean? Even though I wasn't there, I like to picture in my head, like, man.
Yeah, you want to believe that.
I want to believe that you had that conversation before you left.
I think about that all the time, bro. My brother's wife was, unfortunately, she got murdered.
Right.
And somebody hit her with a whip or whatever. And all I could think about is, like, I wonder what was in your mind, because you had to feel that boom. And you like, damn.
Yeah.
That really just happened. Now I'm sitting here like, and like you said, you would hope, or not hope. I don't know if hope's the right word, but
No, I hope.
yeah. But you would want to believe basically that you was like, my kids, and please help me. You know, like, yeah, even if you don't help me, you know, like, this is, I know that that this is real. You know what I mean? Like, so don't, you know, like, don't. I don't know how to explain it, bro. Like, obviously, I'm just freestyling what my thoughts are right now, but that's definitely something. I think about that all the time, bro. Like, God bless her soul, you know, because that's my nephew's mom. You know what I mean? So right. I'm like, damn, bro. Like, when that happened, all I can imagine is like, what would I feel? You know, right away, it's my kids, my daughter, right away. Yeah, my daughter, like, damn. Yeah, she ain't never gonna see me again. Yeah. And then right after that, next to that. God, what else can you? And I know that for a fact. And you know, what you were saying earlier is like how you got to try to like clean up and try to be like this perfect person, and then, you know, and I definitely feel that way, or I have felt that way. I don't feel that way as much now, but I have felt that way because I've done it, and I felt like a coward after that, bro. Like, I've been in situations where like some shit's fucked up, and not like, you know, no street shit, but, you know, like the police one time, we got caught up, sweated like a motherfucker. We hit a house and shit. Hit a house, rolled over. Me and my big cousin and shit. Yeah. It's a funny story, like on some just telling a story, but yeah, just, you know, how it pertains to this is like at the end of it, when we was running, my cousin was like, fam, if they catch us, it's all me. You know, right. You could tell them it was me. Don't let them take you to jail. Don't try to be on no bullshit. Don't try to stand up for yourself. I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they get you or they get me, it's all me. And I was like, nah, bro, fuck that. Anyway, we got sweated. I like got caught up in Burger King and shit. Whatever. I ain't had no shoes on and shit. The shoes came off. I had slippers. And we flipped the whip. And when I got out, the motherfuckers came off. I just started hitting it. But so when I got arrested and shit, they put me in the car, and I nigga, I broke down. I've never told nobody this part of the story either. No bullshit. I'm going all out, fam, for the podcast. But
Right.
I'm in the back seat of the cop car, and I see them arresting my cousin. They pulled up to where this nigga at. Well, I seen him arresting him before I got to Burger King. No bullshit. I looked down the street. This nigga in the middle of the street. They got the dogs on him and shit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this nigga. And then I remember being in the back of the car, and then, you know, I've seen this nigga get arrested a bunch of times, but it was never for something like this. Like, we just hit somebody's house, bro. He drunk driving. I know it's not his first time. You know, I'm like, and all I could do was like, oh, God, please help my cousin. Like, and I remember saying it over and over and over. And I'm in the backseat. I bet them niggas got fucking footage of that shit somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the inside of the car, I'm in the back, like, oh, God, please help my cousin. Like, and like, I was scared as a bitch, bro, because I thought it was so serious. Like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, this nigga, you know.
Yeah, you
And
gonna do a 10.
free big cuz now. He did some crazy whole other shit, same style. And he locked up right now for that shit. But, you know, free E-Dog. But, yeah, like, so doing that after I felt shitty, bro. I felt so shitty because I was like, damn, nigga, like, what kind of bitch ass shit is that? Like, I did that. And then the next day, since I was good,
Yeah.
it didn't even cross my mind to be like, you know what? Thank you, God, for helping me. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
making sure I'm straight. And I never thought about it like that until, you know, I had to look back and I'm like, wow, bro, I felt terrible about this shit, bro, because I feel like being raised how I was, I should have a lot more man, what's the word? I don't want to say courtesy, but you know, I should have a lot more, you know, I should be more on point with that. Like, I should know that, all right, listen, this is what happened. And that's the reason I believe in God. Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not a spiritual, religious, you know. I'm not, I don't consider myself a holy person.
Yeah.
But me and God,
Yeah.
I know. You know, I know, bro. I've lived so many places. I've been in so many fucked up situations. I've been in so much shit where I just had no fucking like reason. No, there's not a inkling of a motherfucking common sense in the situation, bro. And I
Yeah.
came out that motherfucker unscathed, bro. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've been in room with killers. You already know.
Yeah,
you
no.
in the room with some killers, bro. Like
Yeah.
motherfuckers who don't give a fuck about what the fuck am I doing here, bro. There's no reason. Like, why am I like no bullshit, bro? Because
Yeah.
you know I'm heck, bro. I'm a cool dude, bro. I like to just chill. I like to be. I never liked violence like that, fam.
Yeah.
I've participated in it. It's very easy for me to participate in it, but I hate it. Always have. My whole life I've been like that.
Yeah.
You know, but I feel like I had to be. So after a while, I kind of just trained myself to, you know, but what the fuck was I doing, fam? Like, why? And I've been everywhere, bro. I went to fucking high school in 4 states, bro. 5
Right.
different high schools, 4 states. And it was always in poverty. I was always in the ghetto, but somehow I always ate. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Now I'm fucking overweight. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm looking like there's no way you could tell me that, you know what I mean? I came from nothing, fam. You know what I mean? Absolutely nothing, fam. And I'm still in this bitch.
Well, yeah, you know, at the same time, men will pride themselves on that. You know what I mean? They be like, I got myself where I'm at. You know, I did it me. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
see?
you know, there's
No, I know exactly because
Yeah.
that's how I have felt before.
Yeah, like you know what I
Like,
mean.
what you mean? I remember one time me and my sister was arguing. Not to cut you off, but I remember we was arguing and we was into it.
Yeah,
And she was like, "You think you the shit?" And I was young, bro. I was like 18. I just turned 18. I was her guardian and shit. And she's like, "You think you the shit?" Blah blah blah. Motherfucker. She said something about like God, whatever. I was like, God. I was like, nigga, we been fucked up our whole life. You think God got you anything? Nigga, I am God, nigga. I remember I said that shit, bro. And nigga, the next day after that, I told her, like, we cried and shit, everything after that shit. Me and this my sister. This the only sister I got. You know what I'm saying? My blood baby sister.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we got the same mom and dad.
Right.
Me and my brother got different pops. You know what I'm saying? Which doesn't separate,
Take away,
you know? Yeah, but I'm just saying, my
Yeah.
little sister, you know, we 2 years apart and everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but when I said that, I meant it, bro.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what you got? I'm like, motherfucker, we grew up in church our whole life and we been fucked up the whole time. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
what the fuck you talking about, God, nigga? God, I make shit happen. I'm God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I hated myself for that. I ain't hate myself, but
you felt
I
that.
felt it.
Yeah,
I
you
felt it.
felt
I was
that.
like, hold on. You know, I was just in the heat of the moment. I was mad. I was trying to say the most gangster shit I could fucking, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But I feel what you're saying with that because when you feel like that, you know, first of all, you're forsaking yourself off rip, nigga. Like you killing yourself even thinking some shit like that. Second of all, if you was to ask me, heck, how the fuck did you make it in all these situations you've been in?
Yeah.
How did you graduate high school, bro? Like how did you fucking, you know, get all these beautiful women you got and all this? And nigga, I don't know. I can't tell you. You know, and you know what I really couldn't tell you is how I was so loved and still am.
Right.
So like me, my cousins, my brother, and my sisters. I got 3 boy cousins. I got 2 female cousins, but we wasn't raised by them type shit. But this my 3 cousins, my big brother, and my little sister. 6 of us. That's my immediate family.
Right.
I've never, you know, I got a cousin in Milwaukee now. That's my family too. But like I said, this is all like I met you down later in life. But these 3 cousins, me, my brother, and my sister, that's us. You know what I mean? My aunt, my uncle, my mom. And my dad's like, he's like damn near a straggler in the fucking,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, in the equation type shit. But I got a relationship with each one of these people absolutely separate.
Right.
Like, they all be talking shit, beefing, whatever, you know, family shit,
like
dumb shit.
You like the peacemaking.
No, I'm not even a peacemaker. They just all love me. Like, it's fucking crazy, bro. And like shit like that. You know, when I put that all together, and I'm like, man, what did I do? You know what I'm saying? What the fuck did I do to? If anything, I tried to emulate all y'all motherfuckers. Like my whole life. Like the fact that I'm cool now and I consider myself to be, you know, I don't want to say respected because I don't give a fuck if niggas respect me like that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not something I starve for anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can be a man with integrity.
You know what I mean? Like, and I consider myself to be viewed as such. You know what I'm saying? Like my word means more than the average person because I'm not known to be a liar, a snake, a sneaky creep motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Nah. You know, so and all that, I literally built myself up like that off the image I thought in my mind was these niggas. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's what I thought y'all was on.
Yeah.
You know, as we grew up and now that I'm a grown man,
yeah, you realize
it worked out better for me, but I realized it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
It wasn't, you know.
Because so many people fall victim. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's the thing is that a lot of people that you look up to and you grow up and you realize that, you know, that just look at it like this. The streets consume. You know what I mean? Like, majority of the people that are on drugs used to be the drug dealers. You know what I mean? That
they had all the access to it.
Yeah, they had at one point in time, there was the man with it, and now they on to the next phase of it, and that's being addicted to it. And you know, the addiction comes in many ways. It doesn't just come as far as like, dang, you know, old boy used to sell it and now he uses it and he's you know, he's out here fiending. But there's also people that give up everything for it. You know what I mean? And end up being addicted to the lifestyle. And they lose everything for it. You know, so you know, if people go, oh well, you know, what does God know about, you know, my life? As far as that, you know, people love to say, God knows who I am, right? People always say that. I ain't worried about no church. I ain't worried about nothing. You know, God knows who I am, right?
Is that legit? Not to cut you off, but that's legit.
Hey, but it's, yeah, of course God knows who you are, right? He knew you.
No, I'm saying like the whole, because I feel that way. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying like obviously, you know, that if you tell me right now that that's just noise. So I'm just saying like, what is your perspective on that? Because I feel that way too. Like, is that legit? Like, because church to me is, you know, I have a
man, you can have
crazy relationship with it.
You can have church, you know, in the closet, just you and him. You know what I mean?
Right,
like
right.
That's, you know, it's good. Church is good for the fellowship. You know what I mean? It's good to it's like being around like-minded people.
Like-minded people,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's good, but also, you know, church can become something more of a business than anything. You know, and that's why so many people are getting out the church, and not in the sense of leaving church, but just getting out the walls of church. You know what I mean? Because you wanna be where the pain and the hurt is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And trust me, yeah, there are people that are going through things, you know, at church. But think about in the aspect of this, right? So I'm in church and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I've never seen none of y'all in the hood. Yeah, I've never seen, you know, besides the dudes. I'm not sure, so forgive me if I'm wrong. You know, them boys that be suited and booted with the book bags on the bikes, you know, riding in 2 pairs.
Jehovah's Witness.
either Jehovah's or Mormons, whatever,
Mormons, okay, yeah.
whatever the case may be, right? Either in that, besides some knocking door to door every now and then, like I've never seen you in the block, I've never seen you in the hood, I've never seen you anywhere, and I didn't grow up in a family that went to church. Right. My grandpa is a Jehovah's Witness, and what he did with my mom and my aunt, like he pounded it in them. In the sense where it's like church every day, we going here for church, we doing this for church, that for church, to the point where my mom had made up her mind, if I ever have kids, like I'm never gonna do that. So that completely eliminated any kind of situation from me knowing God as a person growing up.
So
now,
you weren't even exposed to it? Or
no, not at all.
Not even given a choice. Like you could go do this.
No, because my mom wasn't gonna go to church. She'd been going to church her whole entire youth. You know what I mean? And at that, forcefully. You get what I'm saying? So it's
a resentment.
It was a resentment towards it. Like I don't want to put my kids with my dad put me through.
No, right? Like
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then my dad was a Catholic. And the thing was that he wasn't like a person that went to church either. It was just like, I'm from Mexico, we're over here, we're Catholic, and we're gonna baptize you when you're a baby.
Right,
but either
right.
in that, like,
but that's it. Yeah.
But that's it.
So you went through that. I don't think I did that.
I don't even remember. I had to be a baby. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
I don't think I was ever baptized.
I never went to no private school or where it was like we was learning about God or anything. Nothing of that sense. So I never had that. So the same way you felt as far as like being like, God knows who I am. Well, I used to think the same thing, right? God knows who I am. Don't worry about it. Like, God knows who I am. And like I said, it's true. God does know who you are. He's known you before you even were in the womb, right? Right? He knitted you, right? So when you go in the scripture and you read those things and you realize, yeah, God knows who I am. But that's not the statement you want to be screaming and yelling, and not because it's not true, but the real statement is, do I know who God is?
Right, I know who God is.
Do I know who He is? He knows who I am for sure, but do I know who He is? That's the real statement you want to scream and yell and boast on, right? Because
right.
you really want to get to know who is He. You know what I mean?
Right.
Who is this? Who is this God that people make fun of, mock? Who is this God that people worship and praise and give everything that they have to Him? I mean, who is He? You know what I mean? Like, who is this God? And how do I know this is the right God? There's so many gods out there, right? There's the pagan gods, and
it's
then
just so outside of their or anybody's imagination, really. Like,
people immediately get turned off by it. You get what I'm saying? Because they're like, well, how do I know that that's the real God? And then this the real God. And then that one, then I would have to give everybody a chance. You know what I mean?
No, right.
And the thing is like, by all means, man, by all means, make a choice. You know what I mean? But please make one. And the thing is like this. For me to understand it, you know what I mean? I had to pick it up and check it out myself. And it's crazy how I came across it. You know what I mean? I came across it. It was a book given to at the time I was with one of my kids' mothers, and
came across what exactly?
The Bible.
Like how you came across the scriptures,
how I ever came across God in my life, right? Like
so you're saying this is when you was on what you was on,
yeah, for sure.
And then this is what you was like, oh, because I was gonna ask you that question, like what really was the transition? You would expect it to be like a situation like, oh, something happened and I was about to go to fucking jail or I almost got killed.
No,
you know what I mean?
because all of that already happened and it never changed me.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
When I was 16 years old, and gangbanging was heavy on the South Side in 03, even years before that. I knew a lot of the OGs. You know what I mean? And a lot of them were obviously, locked up doing life behind gangbanging. And then...
Which we thought was cool.
Oh, for sure, because there was a sense of acceptance in the family.
Yeah, like we thought that shit was supposed to...
Yeah, because everybody's coming from a broken home and everybody's trying to make sense of life. And what better way to form a fellowship, like-minded people, right? Everybody's hurt. Everybody's trying to get some money. Everybody wants to represent something, be safe,
You feel taken care of.
feel taken care of. So, you know, trust me, we all got the mentality of being soldiers. We really do. But the way you serve it and the way it's presented to you can really, really change the outcome of your life, right? So that's why you get people that give their life to God and they go, I'm a soldier of God. You know what I mean? Because now I have the same mentality, but now I'm working against what's been working against me my whole life. Right. You have the mentality to always be on guard, right? You sit there and let's talk about gangbanging life, right? You go into territories that you know that are not yours and you're on point, right? You're not drinking, you're not smoking because you know it knocks you off your character, right? So you're sober minded, right? You're staying on it. You don't trust, you don't trust the other side whatsoever because you know trusting somebody on that side, whether it's a female or a male, can get you killed, family or not.
Yeah, it don't get you done.
Yeah, it gets you knocked, right? So this whole time you already have this mindset of pledging allegiance to something.
Oh, bro, that's fucking
You get what I'm saying?
bro,
Like,
you just touched a super specific feeling that I've been,
and you're loyal.
yeah,
And
exactly.
you're
How can I
loyal.
be so loyal? I just said it in one of my rhymes. How can I stick to how well I stick to the script but never stick to the scriptures? Like, bro,
Yeah.
it's so easy to like. How can I be so fucking good at putting my effort towards this bullshit?
Yeah.
But then it's so hard to be like, hey, this is what you need to be closer to God and to be a better man. You know what I mean?
And you look at real gangs, you know what I mean? Because every now and then you get a little pop-up gang and whatever this sort of say, but you look at it and there's structure.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's structure to it. There's a movement to it, right? And there's statements to it. So the thing is that you, if needed to, right? You're front line. You're front line, and not only that, you're learning things. You know what I mean? Like you didn't just grow up and just know this stuff offhand. No, these are things that you got accustomed to.
Yeah, you didn't know how to bag up dope. You didn't know how to shoot guns.
No,
and shit.
somebody
You had to
put you.
learn that,
Somebody taught you, right?
That's facts.
So the thing is like this, right? Now you get into the scripture and you realize, there's still a war, right? There's still a war waging. You know what I mean? Like the people, all the battle, the ultimate is won, right? Jesus died on the cross and he saved us and he beat death, right? And now he gives you the access to it, right? Because he's our middleman to God, right? Nobody can go to God unless he goes to the Son, right? And that's what he says, right? Nobody can go to the Father unless he comes through me. And he can be one with me, ultimately making him one with God, right? So the thing is, now there's another war going on. So now my mentality is shift. I've always been front line. I've always been on, trained to go.
Yeah.
Right. But now I'm trying to go in a different direction. Now I see that it's not a war in the sense of, and yeah, it is like, people out here killing each other and serving each other drugs and
It be them.
breaking.
It be like,
yeah. Now you want to fight the evils out here in the world, right? You want to expose the lies that the devil's been telling you your whole life, right? Because a lot of the things that keep you away from God is you being condemned inside your heart and your mind, right? Oh man, I can't do this because how can God look at me this way? And like I said, you don't know who you're talking to. You fail to realize how loving and caring and merciful he is for you. Now, of course, it's not to abuse it. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not to be like, oh, well, God has forgiven me. I'm saved. And let me go do what I want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the fucking point of everything, pretty
yeah,
much.
like, oh, he's going to keep, forgiving me. And be it as it may, but you don't want to die in your sin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't want to die with the mentality of that. You truly, because repentance means to actually turn away. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, let's say, just as a metaphor, there's two doors, bro.
Right.
You're looking at these motherfuckers. You know for a fact when you go to the right door, it's some good, it's bliss because you chose that, and you know that it might be a little harder to open, but when you open this motherfucker, there's some shit behind there that's gonna make the rest of eternity bliss for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then you got the door on the left, and you're like, this door is gonna be easy as fuck to go to. You know what I'm saying? You have this choice. There's gonna be everything you fucking want there, but you're gonna be turning your back on what you know is right. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it's really easy to open. So then when you walk through that door, you can't be like, all right, I'm gonna do this because the rule says I'm saved already, I'm valid.
Right.
Nah, the choice is still there. You know what I mean? I just wanted to put that out there because I'm just, that's how I see shit in my mind. So I'm trying to like,
Well, what's crazy is that that's been that's been displayed. You know what I mean? Because Jesus goes, he goes off and it says, he says, the road to destruction is broad and wide, and many are on it. You know what I mean? The road to death is big, it's huge, right?
Yeah, it's the easiest thing to do.
And everybody's on it.
yeah,
But the road to eternal life is small and narrow, and only a few make it. So he lets you know right from the gate, like, hey, this is left or right. You know what I mean? And trust me, over here, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. You know what I mean? Over there, it's easy. It's easy to follow. You know what I mean? It's easy to go down that road. And you got to remember something too. Jesus was tempted by the devil. You get what I'm saying? And I don't know if you know that part of scripture, but Jesus when he went into the wilderness after he was baptized, he was there for 40 days, 40 nights, right?
Okay.
And sometimes that's a sort of say a number, right? People go 40 days, 40 nights, but either way it goes, he was out there, and the devil tempted him, and in those three temptations, one of them was to test God. The devil goes, jump off this mountain, and surely God will, send his angels to save you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Jesus, hits him with scripture, like, don't test God. You know what I mean? Like, don't test him. And then he goes another thing, he takes God to, or he takes Jesus to the highest, point of the world and shows him, like, hey, look at the world. Like, it's mine, and I'll give it all to you if you just bow down and worship me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So the thing is like this: Jesus has been tempted, just like you've been tempted. You know what I mean? And what gain is it? They go to say, Jesus goes, what is it to a man to gain the world if in the process he loses his soul?
I literally just read that quote.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in the midst of it, Jesus was tempted, and he could have had it all, right? He could have had everything that the world had to offer, but he chose different. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like he doesn't know what you go through, right? Because if God came in the form of man and flesh, right, and people go, well, how can God come be a man? And it's just like, well, if you believe God created everything in the world, in the universe, what makes you think it's so hard for him to come, in the form of a man? Why would that be the ultimate? Why would that be the ultimate? He can't do that.
Right.
But he could do everything else. Like,
Yeah.
that would be too easy for him to do. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So the thing is like this: the temptation was real for him. You know what I mean? And at that, it was at a moment where he was at thirst and hunger. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's in the wilderness and he's without, and he's being tempted with everything. So imagine how many people had that same temptation, that same deal. Hey, take this record deal. Take this movie deal. Here, take this dope. Man, you can have it all. You can have whatever you want. And it's true, because at one phone call, and this I know about me and you without having to even say much, there's one phone call we can make that put us in a whole different direction of life. Yeah. At any given time. You got so much credibility in the streets where you already know that you're valid. You're valid. One phone call, someone will come drop something off to you and be like, hey, you're good. You don't even got to worry about it. It's consignment. Yeah. You're good for a whole month.
Just let me know.
Just let me know when you're ready.
Yeah.
Right? Because people are dying to put you on and see you do good, sort of say, right? But really, they're not seeing the picture of the destruction behind it. And they should, right? Because most of their homies are locked up or switched up sides, or people got indicted, told on somebody, whatever the case may be.
It's just a known fact, bro. You die or go to jail, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's proven time and time and time again.
Yeah.
And niggas still chase that shit.
Yeah. So it's the same deal. Here, have it all. Have it all. But in the midst of it, you're going to lose everything, right? Yeah. And you hustle so hard sometimes that you forget about home, right? You forget about your family, right? But in the back of your mind, you're like, this is who I do it for. This is, and that's the lie. That's the the deceit behind it. So that's why I got to go front line. That's why I got to be in the. That's why I got to be in the trenches. That's why I got to go back to where I'm from. That's why I got to be in the streets, and I got to be telling the same people that I used to ride with and I used to do things with, and let them know, like, hey, take a reflection and look at our lives, right? And you can't say nothing about me, right? Because if I'm preaching to the people that I grew up with in the same neighborhood I'm with, it's never to the point where it's like, you don't know what we've been through. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't rock with us. You can't just come over here and tell me to change my life, and you don't know.
I do know.
Why do I know? Because I was right there with you.
I'm still here. I'm still right here.
Yeah, like I'm still here with you, but I wanna. It's like the plug, right? It's like when your boy gets the plug, right, and he knocks on your door, and he's just like, man, hey, bro, I got it. Like, I got it.
I got it right now.
I got it. And you're like, what? And here, man, look it, we on. Like, we on. We ain't got to suffer no more. We straight. And you just like, yeah. Well, I met the plug. You know what I mean? Like, I met God. And, man, I got it. I mean, he got it, but he gave it to me to give it to you. Like, and I got a way out of this. I got a way out of this mess. Like, I got a way that you can amend those relationships that mean something to you. I got a way that we can get your family back together. I got a way that you can be in your kids' lives. But you got to give up everything that you already own possession of. And what you got really don't mean nothing. You know it. Because how many of your boys, you know, deep down inside, they want a way out? They really do. But what do they tell you? This is all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
this is my comfort zone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, man, like it's hard. It's not an easy feat by any means, you know what I mean? And you know, that's kind of where I had to step back and ask myself, and this is a question I ask, you know, my brother Croft a lot too. And I'm like, you know, why does it have to be so hard? You know what I mean? And I know the answer to an extent, but it's more or less like, it almost seems like you gotta be just in the dirt broke. You can't make no money, nothing. Cause you know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest. Like, that's what it feels like the message is trying to get to, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that that's what it is. I'm just saying that's what it seems like. And obviously this is just, you know, from watching, you know, all the, you know, videos and stuff and watching speeches and, you know, it's almost like, you know, you can't prosper, fam. You have to struggle the whole time, you know what I mean? And I guess as human beings, you would, you know, I feel like we're just automatically like, fuck that, we need to go get some good shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's beyond material, because I definitely want a lot of money. I'm not saying I want money for just to be material. There's definitely a part of it that obviously is, because it's cool to have shit, but more or less I want the ability to at least think I'm protecting myself better than I could be, you know what I mean?
No, and I totally understand that, because I wrestle with that thought. Because look at it like this. I'm in a place in my life where I am educating myself financially. You get what I'm saying?
No, that's
like,
what I'm saying.
I'm really, like, you know, I'm really reading books, you know what I'm saying, on how to create some type of wealth. And also, you know, how do we start owning things? Trust me, you know what I mean? Like, I'm in the same boat. Yeah. But also, I have that conversation with God where I go, God, man, you know, because one of the things that always come to mind when I'm like too focused in it is this: you can't serve God and money, right? And he says that. He says you either love one and hate the other.
See, that's crazy.
You get what I'm saying? But
no, I get it.
But at the same time, it's not like he's like, oh man, like, don't take care of nothing. Like, no, by all means. But the thing is that, what would I do with it? And I can always tell you the same. It's always going to be the same answer. It's gonna be able to put back into the community, as far as like, we need more houses. We need more houses where we can house people that are struggling with substance abuse. We need more houses where women can get off the streets and stop being in the traffic business. We need more community centers for the youth to go to when they do got a broken home and nobody's home. Somebody to help them with that homework during the day, and somebody to keep them out of trouble until the lights come on. And then also, we need more homes where we can teach men that they have rights for their kids, because there's a lot of men out there that don't feel like they have the rights to their own children, and don't know, because you get that dangled over your head. And we need to help more women to get on their feet, and whatever the case may be, men, women, children, all of it. We need more. You know what I mean?
And what I'm saying is, money make that happen.
Yeah, money will make that happen, and that's one of the reasons why you want to generate that. You get what I'm saying?
See, do you think, not that would you think that, but does it sound selfish to say that I would love to do shit like that too? But initially, my first very initial thought on why I want to amount large sums of money, you know what I'm saying, is to have my shit like this right here. You see this, like all of this is cool. I'm pretty well off, you know what I mean? I'm not fucking tripping at all. I need nothing. If anything, I have too much shit, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But none of this shit means shit. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that really means shit is the phones, because it's recording this conversation we're having right now. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, all this shit don't really mean shit. Like the washer and dryer's cool, but that's something like shit like that. Like, I really want to be able to afford land to grow my own shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Generators and shit for backup for emergencies. I want a 2-3 year stockpile of fucking food that you don't even need to cook and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? Like, I think about shit like that, and I'm like, bro, I because in the event that I'm not right with God how I want to be, and I know it's coming, and when it does come, if I'm here, I want to be able to fucking survive. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as I can, at least have a chance to, to fight back what's finna come, because when it happens, it's gonna be fucking crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to look something up right now so I can touch on that in a way.
Yeah, because I mean, like, right, for me, bro, there's one thing that always stuck with me from a child, and you could ask anybody that I grew up with my whole life. I'm talking about since I was like 6-7 years old. I have always expected to witness the rapture, bro.
Yeah.
Always, like my whole life. I don't know why, bro. It's something that when I was taught the book of Revelations, we read through that shit, and the pastor was super adamant about pushing that book. You know what I'm saying? Like, the book of Revelations, he was super adamant about it in the 90s, bro. We growing up in church, and I just remember, I felt that shit forever. And that's one of the only books in the Bible where I really like remember reading parts of it, and I remember like a lot of the prophecies, and a lot of that shit is happening, fam, like live time right now. You know what I mean?
No, and I totally agree with that. You know what I mean? The thing is like this, right? And Jesus makes it very clear. When that time comes, nobody knows, not even I. Only the Father. You know what I mean? But that's the reason why he's telling you to be on your P's and Q's, right? He goes, and he shares a few parables on the situation, right? He goes, be on guard, be ready, because when I come, it'll be like a thief in the night. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't gonna know. You know what I mean? And that's why so many of us are like, it's like that old saying, you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, right? So right now, he's preparing us. You know what I mean? And are you preparing yourself, right? And like you said, and it's not to take away from what it is that you're talking about, right? Creating this and having this and wanting this, right? Cool. But what does it mean when at any given time it can be taken away, right? What does it truly mean, right? Because you can be the richest man in the world, right? And die and leave it all to your kid, and your kid can care less about what it is you did throughout your whole entire life and blow it all off. I mean, it's happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can see it in a lot of kids as like, you know, that one kid that blew up his whole, you know, blew off the company and just went haywire with it, and it just was just like, man, I don't care about none of my dad did. Like, I'm gonna blow my money and live how I want to, right? So it's like you know, it's like this, man. Let me see, and if I found this.
Like, do you think I'm wrong for feeling like I might not make it the first round? That's crazy. I literally be thinking about that shit, bro.
Yeah,
Like, I literally in my mind am like, I don't think the first round. Like, if he was to come right fucking now, like, I know I'm not a bad person, bro, but at the same time, like you said, the choice is always there, fam, and I haven't made the best choices. You know what I mean? Like, so in my mind, I'm like, bro, I got to be ready because I know for one, I'm not an evil person, and I know that the evils that this world are gonna bring when that shit goes down, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's gonna be some deep shit.
You know, but in all reality, like, you know, no man is good. You know what I mean? Because there's this time it goes, you know, this person is talking to Jesus, getting attention. He says, "Good teacher, you know, good teacher, you know." I want to let's just cut it there because I don't know what he says after that. But I know his reply is like, "Why do you call me good?" You know, no man is good. You know, the only one good is the Father. You know what I mean? Like, and he just makes it very plain and simple. You know, because in your mind you can have a lot of self-righteousness, right? You can be like, oh, you know, I'm a good person. You know, I pay my taxes. I'm not hurting nobody. I'm not doing nothing bad to nobody. I'm not cheating on my girl. Like, I'm not, you know, not providing for my kids and all that. That's cool, man. Nobody to take away from that. You know what I mean? But does that necessarily make you a good person? Maybe in society. You know what I mean? It's just like someone telling me, like, bro, you a good dad, bro. Yeah. Like, you provide for your kids. You put a roof over their head. You there for them. But in my heart, I'm like, all right, cool, right? Let me tap. You know, and my dad would take that away from me real quick, and not because he's like mean or anything, but he's like, you know, I remember telling my dad one time, not to get off topic, but he'd be like, I was like, man, Dad, you know, I take care of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I handle like, and he's like, and that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
you don't, like you don't get no pat on the, you know what I mean? Like, you don't get no big round of applause for what you're supposed to do. Boy, I've been doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's nothing to brag on, right?
What about stepkids? No, I'm talking shit.
Hey, no, you know they get the most love.